Congratulations, Lizzie and Will. Next, I would like to introduce our senior speaker, our faculty speaker. Each year, the seniors select a member of the faculty to address the group at commencement, and this year our seniors have selected Mr. Eric Bruns. Eric?
I can't do this with the... I am really great and super awesome. Well, I want to give you one last chance to back out of this. I figured if you wanted to hear some speech about how great you all are and what future and promise you have and how you can change the world, blah, 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 you could have chosen anyone else to speak to you. But since you picked me, I'm going to assume that you want to hear what I've got to say. And frankly, I'm not going to talk about you very much. I'm mostly just going to talk about me, since I'm the one who's really great and super awesome. I hope that what I have to say will be mildly entertaining, but you also might be a little offended. You might get mad. So, if you want, I printed off a couple of graduation speeches that I found on the internet to talk about how the class of 2009 is going to change the future of America or something like that. So this is your last chance. If you would like, I can read those. All right. I warned you. I'm probably going to forget to congratulate you all, so I'll just get it out of the way right now. Way to go, class of 2009. You know, I tried really hard to come up with some joke about trimesters, you know, like, I've got to give this speech in 2/3 the allotted time, and you're going to need a tutor to help you understand most of it, because I have to rush through my main point so quickly, something like that, but I couldn't come up with a good way to phrase it. So if you come up with something good, let me know, okay? I would, and, you know, but the intention was really good trimester joke right here, all right? Those of you who were at the senior awards ceremony may recall that I singled out Adam Dreisbach as being one of the math nerdiest guys I've seen in a long time. I want to clarify, that's not a bad thing. You should all be thankful that there are people like Adam out there who find mathematics interesting and may possibly do something to further the study of mathematics. And I hope you all don't just think of Adam as some math geek. He's not some nerd who just likes math. There is more to him than that. He's a very well-rounded individual who also has a passion for all things Star Wars and Star Trek. Clearly not a nerd. Okay, we're almost ready to begin the speech here. Seriously, put your cell phones away. You picked me, so unless you're texting your friend to say, wow, this guy is really great and super awesome, LOL, put it away, okay? Scratch that, just put it away. It's embarrassing, okay? You have the self-control of a 3-year-old. All right, here we go, enough preamble, get comfy. I am really great and super awesome, and you can be too. There are numerous reasons why I'm really great and super awesome. Some you have no hope of replicating. This, Stelton Camp, just give it up, okay? You've got to work with what you've got. Do your best. You've just got to work with what you've got, but other things I've learned, discovered, or invented, I will pass on to you so that you also may make strides towards really great and super awesomeness. So let's start by talking about maturity and a little definition I made up. I was doing some thinking, and here's what I came up with. There are two main components to maturity. One, having the ability to see how your actions might impact others around you. And this is something that's been scientifically proven or something like that. I don't really know. I'm making this up as I go along. But the boy, he's 3, is just starting to learn how to put himself in someone else's shoes. He can kind of get the idea of throwing sand at Carter makes Carter sad, but he doesn't really get it. As you mature, you gain the ability to do that. You can see how your decisions will impact others. You know that jerk who drives on the shoulder during construction when everyone else is waiting patiently to merge? Well, his actions are going to impact everyone else. He cuts in line quickly, people have to slam on their brakes, everyone slows down. And he's a jerk. And he can't see how his actions impact others. He thinks only of himself. Do you know who else only thinks of themselves? The boy. He's 3. 2, having the ability to see how your actions will play out into the future. Those of you who have had me know that I always have tests graded by the next day. Always. And believe me, there are times when I just don't feel like doing that. And there's nothing in my contract that says I have to do that, but it's best for you to receive immediate feedback on your test, so that's what I do. I told you I was really great and super awesome. So I only give tests on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, since those are the longer class periods. And there are times when the stars align and all 4 classes have a test on Wednesday. And the thought crosses my mind, can't I just grade 2 classes tonight and put off the other 2 for tomorrow night? And the answer is yes, I could. But let's look ahead 24 hours. Choosing that option means that I've just ruined Wednesday night and Thursday night. So, on Wednesday, as I grade into the wee hours of the night, I just remind myself, this will all be worth it while I am guilt-free, rotting my brains with TV tomorrow night. And guess what? While I may have second-guessed myself at 1 a.m. on Wednesday night, I have never regretted that decision on Thursday. In short, the ability to delay immediate gratification is a strong sign of maturity. Can the boy wait until after dinner to go to the playground? No, he needs to go now. Can your senior wait until they're out in the parking lot to open their cell phone? No, they need to use it now. And the ultimate example of immaturity in this regard, credit card debt. Why am I really great and super awesome? Because the only thing I owe money on is my house. Since I happen to be good with numbers, I understand how compound interest works. The quick hint is, if you owe money, it's really bad. Now, I recognize not all debt is unavoidable. Some people don't get as much money as I got for scholarship money as I did, and thus they have more student loans to pay. I totally understand that. Or they didn't have a grandfather's inheritance to help buy a car straight out of college, so I get it. Some of that debt is unavoidable. If you're curious, I drive a black Nissan Xterra, okay? Covey, what year's that black Nissan Xterra that I drive? I drive a 2001 black Nissan Xterra. My radio presets are all set to the dumbest stations. But even so, why am I, a debt-free guy, still watching DVDs on the $250 non-digital transition-compliant TV my wife bought when she graduated from college 10 years ago, while so many people with credit card debt feel the need to charge $2,000 to purchase a 42-inch HD flat screen, as if for some strange reason they deserve to own a TV that they don't have the money to pay for. Financially, immediate gratification will kill you in the long run. Saturday Night Live ran a sketch on this a few years ago, and it was brilliant. It was an infomercial with a host, Chris Parnell, and a husband and wife, Steve Martin and Amy Poehler. I will play all 3 parts. I just can't get these numbers to add up. Like we're never going to get out of this hole. Credit card debt, does it ever end? Well, maybe I can help. We sure could use it. We've tried debt consolidation companies. We've even taken out loans to make our payments. Well, you're not the only ones. Did you know that millions of Americans live with debt they cannot control? That's why I developed this unique new program for managing debt. It's called Don't Buy Stuff You Cannot Afford. Let me see that. Huh. If you don't have any money, you should not buy anything. Sounds interesting. Sounds confusing. I don't know, honey. This makes a lot of sense. There's a whole section on here on how to buy expensive things using money you save. Give me that. And where would you get this saved money? Well, I tell you where and how in Chapter 3. Okay, but what if I want to buy something, but I don't have any money? You don't buy it. Well, let's say I don't have enough money to buy something. Should I buy it anyway? No. Now I'm really confused. It's a little confusing at first. Well, let's say you have the money. Can you buy something? Yes. Now take the money away. Same story? No. I think I got it. I buy something I want, and then I hope I can pay for it, right? No. You make sure you have the money, then you pay, then you buy it. Oh, then you buy it. But shouldn't you buy it before you have the money? No. Why not? It's in the book. It's only 1 page long. The advice is priceless, and the book is free. You get it? Don't buy stuff you cannot afford. if I wait until you're out of college, it will be too late for me to tell you this. Most of the time, the damage will have already been done. And then you're either stuck with a pile of totally unnecessary credit card debt, or your parents will bail you out. Don't bail them out. So, while we're here, let's talk a little more about money. And in these talks, you will continue to find that I am really great and super awesome. Let's talk about the world's population. And I'm not talking about Birmingham, I'm not talking about Southeast Michigan, or even the United States. We're talking about the world. If you wanted to be in the top 10% of the world's richest people, how much money do you think you'd have to make? $25,000. Put you in the top 10% of the world. Now, you don't have to raise your hand, but if you make more than $48,000 a year, you are in the top 1% of the world's population. I live in a 3-bedroom house with 1.5 baths that's currently worth about 40% of what we paid for it 8 years ago. And I confess that there have been times when I was tempted to keep up with the Joneses. I'm mildly frustrated with the lack of storage space I have. My garage is pretty full. I have a shed in the backyard, but since we have a finished basement, I don't have a whole lot of room for boxes of winter clothes and Christmas decorations and old baby clothes and etc. So I've been really tempted to put an addition on the house that would give me some extra storage space and a workroom and a bigger closet and a second shower. And then I have to think about how ridiculous I sound. I need to make more room because I don't have a place to put all my stuff. That's crazy. Why don't I just stop buying stuff? Why am I not happy with the stuff I currently own? I'm a big music collector, and according to iTunes, if I were to listen to every one of my CDs for 24 hours a day, it would take me over 67 days to get through all of it. And yet I still buy more music. So, back to my house, I could spend $30,000 to $40,000 to put an addition on my house, or I could find some people for whom that kind of money would really mean something. So why am I really great and super awesome? Well, because I know how good I have it. I recognize what I have. Compared to most others in the world, I have everything. I always have food. I always have clean water. Let's talk about how much clean water I actually have. I have so much clean water that I let the boy poop in the clean water. And it's a big thing at our house, okay? He just turned 3. He's been potty trained for a couple months. This is what our house is like, okay? Daddy, I pooped on the potty. I'm downstairs. That's great. Good job. You want to see it? No, that's okay. Come and see it. I did a little poop. So I go upstairs and I see it, and he's beaming, and he starts singing the potty song. Grayson pooped on the potty, Grayson. No, Daddy, you sing the potty song with me. Grayson pooped on the potty, No. You sing the potty song and do the potty dance with me. Grayson pooped on the potty, Grayson pooped on the pot. That's his dance. Can I flesh it now? That's my life, all right? I teach calculus during the day, and I do the potty dance at night, okay? That's me. So, so what I have, I never have to worry about catching some disease because we don't have a sanitary way to take care of the boys' poop. My house warms itself up in the winter and cools itself down in the summer. Come on, that's amazing, isn't it? I have 2 TVs, 2 VCRs, 2 DVD players. I don't have cable. I do have high-speed internet. My house is relatively modest by our middle-class standards, but if you took my house back in time, 50 years, 100 years, 200, even as little as 300 years ago, a flushing toilet and a method of heat that didn't require you getting up in the middle of the night and chopping wood would allow you to live better than kings. And yet somehow we still find things to be unhappy about. I recognize what I have and how blessed I am, and I'm grateful for all the technological conveniences I have. Whenever I feel dissatisfied with my situation, I've decided to only compare myself to those in third world countries whenever I really need a reality check, because I'm really great and super awesome. There's a comedian named Louis C.K., and he had a bit on Conan O'Brien that has since been titled, "Everything is Amazing and Nobody is Happy." And that's exactly what he says. He says, everything is amazing right now and nobody's happy. If you don't mind, I will recite a bit of it for you. Conan asks, do you feel now in the 21st century that we take technology for granted? And Lewis replies, well, yeah, because now we live in an amazing, amazing world that's wasted on the crappiest generation of spoiled idiots that don't care, because this is what people are like now. They've got their phone, and they're like, it won't. Give it a second! It's going to space. Can you give it a second to get back from space? Is the speed of light too slow for you? I was on an airplane, and there was high-speed internet on the airplane. This is the newest thing that I know exists. I was sitting on the plane, and they say, open up your laptop, so you can go on the internet. And it's fast, and I'm watching YouTube clips, and then it breaks down. And they apologize. They say, sorry, the internet's not working. And the guy next to me goes, this is bull crap. Like how quickly the world owes him something he knew existed only 10 seconds ago. Seriously, the world owes you nothing. You've got food. I have Oprah Winfrey's commencement speech, if you would like me to switch over to that one. Okay? All right. You've got food and shelter. I don't know how you can complain. I remember a girl in my class a few years back describing to her friends her repeatedly used tactic of breaking or losing her cell phone so she could get a better one. The world does not owe you a better cell phone. The world does not owe you a senior skip day. You scheduled it for Friday, and then some of you realized that that didn't work for you due to sports or field trips or whatever. So instead of, well, that stinks, I can't participate in the senior skip day, it became, Seaholm High School owes me a senior skip day. I'll take it on Monday. And some of you scumbags took both. Now, I've been rather vocal about this issue and the whole cell phone thing, and I want you to understand, I agree. It's not a big deal to miss 1 or even 2 days of school, and cell phones aren't evil. But with regards to these and other things, sometimes your actions and attitudes reveal a little something about your character. Okay. I don't have a good transition to the next part, so I just say okay. Okay, I have one main topic, one last main topic I want to get to. Love. And I watched Gunther's video, and it was very well done. But you all have it wrong. And it's not your fault that you all have it wrong. You're 18. But you don't know what love is. But lucky for you, I'm really great and super awesome. And I know what love is. The first question asked was, in one word, what is love? Common responses: passion, romance, sex, happiness. And do you know what the correct answer is? It's one of these two. It's either commitment or choice. It doesn't sound very Hollywood, I know, but real love is a decision. Now, romance, sparks, sexual attraction, butterflies, they're all part of love. And I'm going to wrap all those things up into one word for you, okay? We'll call them the tingles, all right? Now, don't get all gross on me here. We'll just call them the tingles, all right? The tingles are all the exciting, Hollywood-worthy parts of love, but they're fleeting. They're not the sustaining part of love. I used to get the tingles just washing the dishes with my wife in her campus house because it was new and exciting, and I just loved spending every minute with her, even if she was washing and I was drying. Guess what? I don't get the tingles from doing the dishes anymore. But I do get a strong sense of real love when she comes downstairs and says, "Oh, you did the dishes, thanks." I chose to love her by cleaning up that kitchen. I didn't want to do that, but she probably didn't want to do it either. But again, doing dishes isn't very Hollywood. I've knocked Hollywood a bit, but there's a scene in Good Will Hunting that nails it pretty well. Robin Williams is explaining to Matt Damon, the cocky street tough boy genius, about how he doesn't know what love is. He says, "I'd ask you about love, and you'd probably quote me a sonnet, but you've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. Known someone that could level you with her eyes, feeling like God put an angel on earth just for you, who could rescue you from the depths of hell, and you wouldn't know what it's like to be her angel, to have that love for her, be there forever, through anything, through cancer. And you wouldn't know about sleeping sitting up in the hospital room for 2 months holding her hand because the doctors could see in your eyes that the terms visiting hours don't apply to you. He's not describing the tingles. This is a real choice, a true commitment. And to be committed through that is what love is. But replace the word cancer with addiction, or going out every weekend drinking with the guys, or how about just plain annoying me? It's relatively easy to love someone through a painful disease that wasn't their fault. But what if your spouse somehow just turns into a jerk? Can you choose to love through that? Do you choose to value the relationship, the marriage, enough to go through some painful talks and counseling to get your relationship back on track? The tingles won't get you through that. This real love, the choice to love through tough times, can. I've been married to Bethany for 8 years now, and the tingles are not present every single day of the week. And they're not gone completely, and there are times when I come home and she's wearing that shirt I like with those jeans I like. I know, it's so gross, sorry. So the tingles are still there. But here's the thing, our marriage, real love, not the tingles, is good. When the tingles are gone, if you want, there's something more there, and it is good. I was trying to think of an appropriate word for this, and I kept coming back to good. I know there are stronger words out there, great, fantastic, excellent, swell, but I just felt that there was a warmth and a strength and a security and a longevity in the word good. Sometimes I can't help but notice the young love in the hallways of Seaholm, and at times, between gag reflexes, I reminisce about those early days when I was first dating Beth. And they were wonderful and grand and exciting, but I wouldn't trade today's love for the tingles of 10 years ago, because what we have now is good. Every morning I wake up and I make the choice to love my wife, regardless of whether or not she's in a good mood, regardless of whether or not she annoys me that day, regardless of how many 25-year-old swimsuit models hit on me that day. I choose to love my wife, and it is good. So why am I really great and super awesome? Well, because at a young age I knew what I wanted. I wanted a wife. I had 2 girlfriends during my high school years. Do you want to know where they are now? In Alaska and South Africa. That's the impact I have on women. After a breakup, they're so crushed and heartbroken they can't stand to be in the same hemisphere as me. My 3rd girlfriend is now my wife. Do I ever regret not playing the field more? Is there something missing from my life that could have been filled had I only chased after a few more women in college? No. What we have, this love, is good. I knew what I wanted, and I waited for it, and now I'm enjoying every minute of my married life. I'm really great and super awesome. But guess what? I haven't always been really great and super awesome. I have made and continue to make many mistakes. More importantly, I have learned from many of them. For example, in college, before I knew my wife, during the 2nd or 3rd week of school, for some bizarre reason, I felt the need to call up a girl. When her roommate answered and told me that the girl wasn't home, I asked if I could call back and leave a message. I did. My goal was simply to leave an anonymous message telling her that I thought she was beautiful so she would have something to brighten her day. Except I ran out of time on the answering machine. So I needed to call up and leave a second message. And I did. I learned from that mistake. The lesson was, don't be a stupid idiot. And no, I don't drink, so I don't even have that excuse to fall back on. And since I'm here speaking to you as a teacher, I feel it's appropriate to relay one of the defining moments of my career. It happened to be a mistake. Actually, I have another mistake to relay to you. I graduated in 3.5 years, so I began teaching here at Seaholm in the spring semester, and I had a pre-algebra class, and they asked me how old I was. And I said, well, I'm 21. And I had this senior girl in the pre-algebra class. She said, my boyfriend's older than you are. So I learned. I waited another like 4 or 5 years before I revealed my age. Anyway, back to the career-defining moment. It occurred during the first year of teaching, and fortunately, I learned from it. I had decided to give the students a break, and for the last half of the class or so, we played a game together which had no academic value to it. After class, my mentor, Joe Panchoa, stopped by my room. He looked into my room as he was passing by, and he came and he talked to me. He said, Eric, I know this is none of my business, but what the heck was that? Did that have anything to do with mathematics? Is there something you're doing that I don't know about? How is it that I have to bust my butt until June and you have time to play games? And those words were incredibly difficult for me to hear, and yet totally appropriate and necessary. That confrontation was the turning point in my young career. At that point, I set aside any preconceived notions of what I thought teaching was, as it dawned on me what an excellent teacher Joe Panchoa was. I began to soak up everything that I could from this master teacher, and then I sought out other teachers that I respected deeply. I would sit in on Joe's classes a few times a year. I've sat in on Thad Wilhelm's classes. I've gone outside the department. I've sat in on a number of Barb Angot's classes and Kyle Hall's. I would just absorb the little things that they did. To you teachers sitting here, if I haven't sat in on one of your classes, just read between the lines. Just kidding. I recognized that I didn't have all the answers. I have them now, but at the time I didn't have all the answers. So I went to those who knew more than I, and I asked, and I learned, and I learned, and I learned. So we don't have to make mistakes to learn about life. I know a guy named Larry Schwartz, greatest 60-something-year-old guy I've ever met. Great guy all around, and he's taught me so much about marriage and what it really means to love your wife. One of my favorite math professors at Hope College, a guy named Tim Pennings, he's brilliant, he's quirky, he's hilarious. He's taught me how to really love and respect mathematics, even if I don't understand all of it. Find people you can look up to. Find people you can learn from, even if they're old. I did, because I'm really great and super awesome. We're almost done. Grandparents, hey, thanks for coming. Okay, now I want to address the parents. I have two small requests of you. First off, please, please, please do not call your child's professor for any reason. It's embarrassing to you, it's embarrassing to your child. Do not call a professor to ask about a grade or for an extension on a paper or to explain why your child is sick or anything. Do not call your child's school. Let them grow up and make mistakes, and more importantly, let them suffer the consequences for those mistakes. Secondly, and I recognize that this may be difficult to hear from some 30-year-old kid who has no idea what he's talking about, but I feel that it needs to be said. I recognize that alcohol is not the worst thing in the world. It does have the power to shatter lives, and I'm not of the belief that everyone who drinks is going to hell or anything like that. But if you're a parent, and hopefully there are none of you here and I'm wasting my breath, but if you're a parent and you provide alcohol for kids, you deserve to get caught. Secondly, if you know your kid is out drinking with his or her friends, please grow up, be the adult, and do something about it. Kids will be kids, but parents, you have to be parents. Okay, now that I've made some new friends, let me close with you students. Some of you know what's coming. I have many friends. I mean, I am really great and super awesome. And they're all out of college. I haven't met anyone yet who has said, you know, I wish I would have dabbled a little more in recreational drugs while I was in college. I wish I would have partied more. I wish I would have drank a lot more in college. I wish I would have slept around a little bit more in college. None of my friends have ever expressed that regret. Unfortunately, I do have friends that express regret in the other direction. Be smart, be mature. Will more harm than good come about from the choices you make? Think about the 30-year-old version of you. College is a blast, and there are times when I really miss it. And aside from that whole awkward phone call thing, I have very few regrets about my college days, because I'm really great and super awesome. There's one thing I haven't mentioned yet, and I won't mention it here. But if you would like to know the biggest source of my really great and super awesomeness, come talk to me sometime outside of a public school setting, and I will tell you about it. Sometime in January, Scott Covey made a promise to me. He guaranteed that he would make me cry sometime this year. I'm going to beat you. I will win. To those of you that I know, I love you all. And you son of a gun. I love you all in the most appropriate way that a 30-year-old man can love a classroom full of 18-year-olds. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to you. I don't do well with the whole awkward mingling amongst the crowd thing, so I'll probably just be down by my room for hugs and handshakes and high fives. If you're upset by anything I've said today, please send it in a nice scathing email. I promise I'll read it. And don't forget I drive a black Nissan Xterra. I have two final words for you. Wilhelm tattoo. Thank you very much.